Oh. Hello and welcome back to another video. My name's Mary, and here on this channel, I like to talk about passion that is practical, comfortable, and or makes me happy. Any combination thereof. And you're probably wondering, what the heck are you doing today? Well, I'm doing two daring things. Number one, I'm showing up like this. And number two, I'm talking about underconsumption. And I feel like that's a daring thing to talk about because a lot of people have a lot of opinions. Well, you know what? I'm one of those people too. So, I got a little bored filming the video the first time I filmed the video because I don't know about you, but I like to look at things when I see people talk. And when I talk, I also like to do things or talk about a tangible item that I can look at. So I thought, why don't we do my hair while we talk about the trending underconsumption topic? So if that interests you, then keep watching. I think I'm gonna start by going and washing my hair. And then we'll do some skincare and talk about the first thing on my underconsumption list, which is actually talking first about overconsumption. Let's go. All right. I have showered, and I normally immediately put my skincare on because I feel like it soaks in nicely. I'm having trouble deciding whether or not I should put a pimple patch on this pimple or if I should put some exfoliating liquid. I really have no clue. I think I'm just gonna go with the exfoliating liquid. But we wanted to talk about underconsumption first so that we can get into the meat and potatoes and talk about... Did I say that backwards? We wanted to talk about overconsumption so then we could talk about underconsumption. I feel like overconsumption is kind of a thing of, dare I say, human nature? I just think it's become more prevalent in today's society because of technology. So back in the day, you know, when it came to purchasing items, you probably only came across items, whether it's clothing or household goods or literally anything you would buy, if you ran into an actual other physical person in real life, right? Because we didn't have TV, we didn't have phones. Way back in the day, we didn't even have radios, right? But if we're talking about, I don't know, let's just say we have radios, right? You might hear about an ad. And of course, ads have always been served to us. Marketing and capitalism have been a thing. I mean, I can't speak, I'm not a historian, but I feel like since the dawn of time, people have always tried to get ahead. And one of the ways to get ahead financially in life is to sell things, and a lot of those things to people, right? But I feel like we didn't see all of these things on the internet and think, oh, I want that, right? We probably just thought, oh, hey, my next door neighbor, Steve, has a cool lawnmower or a cool button down. Hey, Steve, where'd you get that? You go to your local store, support a local person and buy it, right? But our reach, for better and for worse, has gotten way wider, especially with the use, you know, when we talk about TVs, that's another way that we were marketed to. Do you remember those commercials when you were a kid that would be like, go get this RC car or the brand new Polly Pocket? Or, I mean, they get us young, right? They are always marketing things to us and telling us, hey, you're not going to be the coolest kid in second grade unless you have this Furby, you know, things like that. So I don't know if it's fair to blame any individual person for over-consuming because we're inundated with it. And fast forward to now, where we're we keep the internet in our pocket. You know what I mean? And we're constantly consuming, and it's difficult to not constantly consume. I personally have made it a goal to create more, which is why I made this channel, and consume less. And it's fucking hard. I still consume. I do. I'm not perfect, which is why it's risky to talk on the topic of underconsumption and or overconsumption, because there's a lot of people out there that think they're doing it the perfect way and that any other way is wrong. Or if you're doing it just a little bit, you know, if you're practicing underconsumption just a little bit, well, then you're a failure because you got to do it all the way, all or nothing, baby. Well, that's just not the way it is with underconsumption, or at least I don't think so. But really, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is we have FOMO. We have FOMO and access to see what every other person is doing in the world. And that, my friends, is a lethal combination, if you know what I'm saying, because then we're so susceptible just to buying anything that anybody has on the internet that looks cool. You know what I'm saying? At any rate, I put on my liquid exfoliant on that pimple, and I put on my moisturizer, and I put on my retinol. I am missing my vitamin C. But I said that the internet was good and bad, right? I think the great thing about the internet is people have started to speak up and be like, hey, you don't need that sweater in every single colorway. You don't need 10 of that sweater. Like, hey, if you already have a sweater, you don't need this other sweater. Just like, you know, buy like 3 sweaters instead of like 20 sweaters, and keep those sweaters. Like, they're quality sweaters. You don't need to be buying a new one next season when it isn't trendy anymore. People have started to speak up, but I feel like that almost polarizes us, right? And this is such a nuanced topic because not only is it polarizing, but I do feel truly and honestly like there's an aspect of socioeconomic status, because higher quality items that are going to last a lifetime so that you can just buy one item and not buy more or underconsume costs a lot of money, and not everybody has access to the things that cost a lot of money. So I can obviously not go over every single nuance in the overconsumption versus underconsumption topic, but there are so many. And while not everybody does this, I do feel like it's polarizing because there is it's almost like the people who overconsume versus the people who underconsume are like at war. And not everybody, of course, again, it's so nuanced, not everybody, but like I said in the beginning, if you're not doing it right, are you even doing it at all? You know what I'm saying? I don't know, mull that over. I'm gonna dry my hair real quick. Well, actually, before I dry my hair, I almost forgot. I feel like the reason we overconsume is, like I said, in human nature, fear of missing out, but it's also rooted a lot in insecurities. And just like people on the internet have started speaking up about overconsumption and saying, hey, let's underconsume, people have started talking about how people have started outing companies for exploiting our insecurities to make profit. Let's get them. I absolutely love it. And so that brings us almost into a new dawn of consumption. Or does it? the new dawn of underconsumption. Are we there yet? And how can you personally make sure that you start to make better choices in your life when it comes to consumption? Well, I'm sorry to say it, folks, but I don't think we're there yet, unfortunately. Will we ever be there? I don't actually know. I think it's part of the human condition to try to overconsume. Whether we're doing it consciously or subconsciously. I forgot to put my sunscreen on, which is the worst because now it's gonna stick to my bangs. But here we are. Speaking of here we are, the clock app. Gosh, the clock app. It exploded over the past couple of years, which is amazing. Man, it's really given a lot of people a space to create and find their exact audience and connect with people and be silly and genuine and just really, it's just awesome. It's just amazing, right? Like, there's nothing, I get goose pimples just talking about it, but there's nothing like finding your people. And I feel like the clock app has really done a great job of allowing people to find their people. But you know, there's a darker side to it. It also has done a really good job of allowing companies, billion-dollar corporations that sell you things that you don't need. It's allowed them to find their people. Whew, and a lot of them. Because we have the clock app shop. And it is so easily allows you to purchase an item with one click of the button. It's so easy. Companies make it so easy for us to overconsume. So for better or for worse, that means that the onus lies on us as individuals to make good choices. But how do you make good choices if you don't know what you don't know? You know? Like, if you don't know how to make a good choice when it comes to consumption, then how do you make a good choice? I don't know. But okay, when it comes to my hair though, I'm debating on stopping here because quite frankly, this is normally my everyday look. This is what I do. I keep this clip in here for volume on the top until it dries. But for you lovely people today, I thought I would put extra heat on my hair so that we could have a great before and after transformation. Should we do it? I also don't like the wet hair on me. I don't like feeling the wet hair on me, so sure, why not? Let's do it. I recently got the Shea Moisture 100% pure argan oil. And I'm wondering if I put this on my wet hair or my dry hair, because it doesn't say. And if I put it on my wet hair, when I dry it, will it fry it? I've got questions. Anyways, the access has gotten easier. So it's so interesting to me because the information on purchasing items and the ease of purchasing items and the ease of seeing the items to purchase has gone up. But also, the factors to why a company would sell us things has also been exploited, right? We've exploited them, they've exploited us, and now it's our turn to exploit them. We've said, hey, you don't need any product to make you look different because you're awesome. You look amazing the way you look. So we have an uprise of people educating people on how to avoid FOMO, on how to just live your most authentic self. But we also have an uprise of ease of access to purchase things. So we're in the middle of that. Ease of access to purchase things, education and information. You're in the middle. We're in the middle. You know what I'm saying? And so what does that mean? What does that mean for you? What does that mean for me? What are we gonna do? Well, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dry my hair again.
I like to do it in layers. So let's do the first layer.
Whoa! Actually, I'm so hot. I need a cool blast. had my cool blast. All right, so far as a reminder, we've talked about where we used to be, where we used to only see and be able to consume in the geographical location in which we lived in. We fast forward to today where we're being inundated with things that we could purchase, and companies want us to purchase those things. But we've also been inundated with education and how we can be better at making consuming decisions. So that kind of makes me think, what are we doing today? So if I, YouTuber Mary, show you an item, you may want to go buy that item. Maybe I showed you the item, you like the item, you want to go buy the item, right? That's easy on the Clock app because you see the item, you like the item, you buy the item, right? But I think we need to have a paradigm shift, if you will. And I think we're almost there, but it's, again, very nuanced. We're almost there. And I think the paradigm shift is coming in the fact that underconsumption is trending. But how do we make underconsumption a part of our lifestyle instead of just another trend? Because historically, trends come and go. And I think underconsumption is something that should stay in our lives. I think it's something we should keep. We should never get rid of this trend, is what I'm trying to say. I think the ways that you and I, as consumers, can make better decisions when consuming is to practice self-confidence. Because I think self-confidence is the first step to being less susceptible to those ads. Because if you are so self-confident when an ad pops up about, I'm so inundated with these ads about a bra that will make your boobies look better, then you'll be like, nah, I don't need it because I already got great boobies. You know what I'm saying? If you get inundated with ads on shapewear that will slim you, you'll be like, I don't want to be slimmed because I'm so confident. I know that I like to eat food and I don't need that food to be tucked in. In fact, it's actually more comfortable for me to be able to hang out physically. It's more comfortable, so that's what I'm gonna do, right? So I think step one is to work on self-confidence. But I'm a fashion channel, so how can you do it in the world of fashion? I think that you can become confident and seek out what your personal style is. Because if you are confident in what your personal style is, then you're not going to be susceptible to all of the trends that come and go in our life. And you're going to buy pieces that you are confident in keeping in your wardrobe for the rest of your life because that's what you like and you know what you like. I have one teensy nuance that I would like to talk about, and that is hobbies. I personally think it is okay to, this might be a little bit overstating the fact, but I think it's okay to overconsume when it comes to your hobby. Now, I don't think like overconsume, but of course, the average rock collector is going to have more rocks in their house than the average not rock collector. You know what I'm saying? The average fashion enthusiast is going to have more clothes in her closet than someone who doesn't fucking care about fashion. The average cat lady is gonna have more cats than people who don't like cats, right? So when you are a consumer or a person watching anybody on the internet, you don't have to have 50 of each item in every single category. Know your interests, pick a category, and it is okay to maybe not overconsume, but it is okay to indulge in the hobbies that bring you joy. Maybe you're a cooking enthusiast and you have way more cooking gadgets than the average human in their kitchen. I can tell you I have more clothes in my wardrobe than the average person because it's my interest and I love it. It brings me so much joy. Maybe you're watching this and you just want to get a couple of tips on underconsumption and overconsumption. You don't actually really care about fashion that much. I mean, I kind of hope if you're watching you do care about fashion. Maybe you could subscribe to the channel if that's the case. But that's my point on that. I don't think it is realistic to underconsume in every single category of your life. I think it's too much to ask of the human race. It's too much to ask, and I personally am simply not going to do it. But what I am going to do is not overconsume in every single category. I will underconsume in plenty of other categories. Ladies and gents, we're coming to an end here with the hair. All right, so we've identified the topic, underconsumption. We've identified the problem with underconsumption. It's perfectionism within the world of underconsumption. It's nuances, general interests, hobbies, socioeconomic statuses in the world of underconsumption that are barriers to proceed. We've also talked about how we're vulnerable to all of the things we see on the internet and all of the media that we intake on a daily basis. We've talked about how to mediate that in becoming more confident in who you are so you're less susceptible to those things. We've also talked about choosing hobbies and how it's okay to indulge in certain hobbies and underconsume in other hobbies. So I think you probably have a good grasp on how to move forward more confidently in your life when it comes to the topic of underconsumption and even overconsumption. But what I want you to keep in your brain every time you're deciding on whether to purchase a new item is not underconsumption, but intentional consumption. Because I think it's too overwhelming to say, don't buy anything. It's too overwhelming. And I think it's unhealthy and unnecessary to overconsume in every category in your life. So I think with the newfound confidence that you're going to go out and find, I think with the hobbies that you're going to gain and really set out there with intention to love, I think with all of the things we've talked about today, you can move forward with intentional consumption. Do you need said item in your life? I'm not going to go really in depth into this topic because I created a whole video about how you can decide whether or not you need to purchase an item. So it's one of my first videos and it's interesting to go back and watch and see how far I've come in my video editing style. But at any rate, I digress. Go ahead and go back, watch that video, and move forward with the mindset of intentional consumption. Because I think in a world where you're inundated with so many decisions, putting a line of thought into practice in your life that suits your personality and your temperament is the best way to turn an underconsumption trend into a lifestyle and not just a trend. At any rate, that's all I've got to talk about. I'm gonna let the rest of my hair air dry because that's just kind of what I do. But if you liked this video, go ahead and, like this video. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know what you want to see in the comments. Other than that, I hope you found information helpful and that you decide to subscribe. I am going to sign off for today, but I hope that you have a beautiful day. Bye!